Welcome to the episode 11 of Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, I'm going to be breaking down episode 7 of the GOAT. The game has changed, and it's an incredible episode to break down. 14 reality superstars moved into GOAT Manor to face off in a brand new hilarious competition show hosted by Daniel Tosh. They will compete in over 20 challenges, earning and breaking one another's trust as they battle it out for $200,000 and the title of greatest of all time. We have moved on to episode 7. We have seen 7 eliminations up to date. We're down to 7 cast members. First episode saw Joey Sasago, Taisha Williams in episode 2, Lauren Speed Hamilton in episode 3, Kristen Dote in episode 4, Justin/Alyssa Edwards in episode 5, and then Tech Holmes also in episode 5. And then last week we sent home Reza, which broke my heart because I really liked Reza as well. Folks, thank you guys so much for tuning into the 11 Reality Podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do me a favor, hit that like button, drop the comment, tell me who you think is going to win the GOAT in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Also, if you could hit the subscribe button, greatly appreciate it. It goes a long way in supporting the Love in Reality Podcast. But without further ado, let's jump into episode 7 of the GOAT. All right, folks, Wendell is sad because Reza is gone. He knows the numbers are in favor of the girls. Jill said it was either Reza or Wendell, which just blew him away that he was shocked that she just announced this in front of everybody. As everybody's kind of sitting around waiting for Tosh to arrive, he tries to sneak into the chat by crawling in to scare them. I love Tosh. He announces here on out, it is every single person for themselves as they fight to the death, as he said. Not only in this competition will the GOAT win immunity, but he gets a new power. And Tosh says he will not reveal what it is quite yet. It is celebration of game shows this week for the competition. We get a hilarious montage of CJ, Jill, and Wendell and Joe kind of preparing to head out for the game. Just funny as hell. Tosh is dressed as Guy Fieri. The game is called 60 Seconds to Win It. This is where they're going to test their internal clock. They are basically sitting there with a button, like Family Feud style. Is it Family Feud? Yeah, Family Feud buzzer sitting in front of them. However, in the 60 seconds, they must hit the buzzer when they think the 60 seconds up. The person closest to 60 seconds wins that round. It's 1v1 scenario. However, throughout the competition, there's going to be distractions. This was a cool idea, cool concept. Love the distractions as well. It was Joe versus CJ first. He is ready to think. He's ready to go, and he thinks it's easy. However, his ADD, I think, is going to kick in. He said around the 30 or 40-second mark. The Radio City Goettes come in, banging pots and pans to throw them off. CJ buzzed at 54 seconds, with Joe clocking in right at 55 seconds, meaning CJ is eliminated. Joe is moving on to the next round of the competition. Jason versus Wendell. A GOAT NATO is incoming to distract them. Jason buzzed in at 59.8 seconds. Wendell, who needed to win this competition, buzzed in at 58.6, meaning Jason won this round. First off, 59.8. That is impressive. Like, Jason was like, 50, like, you realize how close that is? That is damn near 60 seconds. Like, I cannot believe that even with all the distractions going on, that was impressive. Hey, Davon versus Jill. Hard Rock Goats are out, not involved. Davon isn't phased, even though she said that she kind of was. Tosh was screaming in her ear. Davon wins 56.3, winning that round. Powell versus Joe. We have GOAT cheerleaders now. Joe wins with 56.5 seconds. And then it's Jason versus Davon. The winner faces Joe. It's Goatchella, not Coachella. Coachella. It is Goatchella, which is hilarious. These fucking names just make me laugh so hard. Davon tricked Jason into hitting the buzzer. He thought she pretended to hit the buzzer, but didn't, meaning causing him to hit his. And then she hit his after, thinking that maybe it was beyond the time. However, it screwed her from winning the challenge, because if she actually would have hit it, she would have won the competition, but she didn't. Jason versus Joe. Jason is ready to win his first competition. It is New Year's Eve. The winner of the challenge is motherfucking Joe, bro. Fucking Joe, dog. Joe stepping up to the plate. He's fucking game playing. This is the same guy that at the beginning of the show I felt like was like non-existent almost. You know what I mean? And he is here. He's ready to party. He's ready to win this, win the challenge. It is announced that not only is Joe safe from the competition, it is announced he has gained superpowers And at the end of each episode, only 2 people would be eliminated. Whoever is in last place of the competition will be one of those people. However, whoever the GOAT picks right now in front of everybody is going to be the other person. Holy shit, what a twist. Okay. We've seen some twists on the show so far, but this one is monumental. Not only do you have the power of winning the immunity because you're safe, but then you also kind of put a target on your back by throwing somebody on the block right in that specific moment. So, of course, Joe picks Wendell, which was not a surprise at all. However, another interesting twist, if Wendell wins the competition tomorrow, not only can he save himself, but he can nominate somebody in his place. This is crazy. I love the dynamic. Joe says he knows that Wendell, he needs to get Wendell out of the. He doesn't want Wendell to win because if he wins, he will target Joe. We see CJ trying to slide back into the girls' party and the girls' regime, but Paolo's just not having it. She's like not falling for his shit because she tagged him in the back before. CJ has an idea. Write down 2 questions for everybody. Everybody answers a question. CJ, I really love this. This was a really somber moment for CJ. She talks about, she tells a story about how she was bullied as a kid and kind of breaks down how sad it was, and like the sad voice in her head. Very somber moment, very personal side of CJ we really haven't seen before. But on the flip side, my dude Wendell pulls out one of the coolest things in a long time. He goes and works the social game because he announces he's got a baby on his way. He's away from his wife and he's trying to win the competition until he has some money to bring home to his baby and his mom, or to his wife and his baby mama there, and all of these things and everything in between. This dude was bringing in the waterworks. Everybody was crying, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody was, and then Davon just kind of sat there. They just looked there and like, bro, I knew you were having a baby before I got here. She tells the camera. I was like, she knows what he's up to and knows that he's trying to get the sympathy card. So later that night, if he doesn't win the competition, he's trying to win and try to get some votes in his favor. However, we'll see if that worked. Well, breaking news, Jill threw her back out there searching for answers. She calls Phaedra to get a doctor ASAP so she isn't DQ'd. She's very upset. It's competition time and Jill is not around. They're freaking out over because it's spin the wheel with a bunch of gross, disgusting things on the challenge. It's called the Wheel of Misfortune. If Wendell wins, reminder, if Wendell wins, he saves himself and he gets to pick his replacement. However, one by one, they will spin the wheel and complete the task. The first one to back out of the competition, to not fail to complete the competition, is automatically out. If Jill doesn't arrive at the start of this game, she would be DQ'd and will automatically put against Wendell or the person Wendell puts up. We get an arrival from Dramatically. Jill has arrived with a back brace wrapped around her. I love Jill. Go Jill. Loved it so much. First up is Joe. He gets cockroaches. He must remove 3 goats out of his mouth. This is like Fear Factor. This was like a Fear Factor episode. This wasn't a game show challenge. This was a Fear Factor challenge. He removes 3 goats out of his mouth from a box full of cockroaches. Joe does it, no problem. He said, "Don't underestimate people from The Bachelor because it's more intense than people think." I'm telling you, I'm really like, Joe and I are becoming BFFs, and he doesn't even realize it yet. Wendell's up. It's hot stuff. Habanero pepper with ghost sauce on top of it. Doesn't eat it in 1 minute. He slays it in like 5 seconds. Like, knocks it out of the ballpark. Devon must eat a cup of mustard. Gross. 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 But she does it. Spicy rice for Jill. Jill fails, and she will be up for elimination. So even after coming back, making it back to the competition, she still is up for elimination. CJ does sweet and fat milk. She's a vegan. It was ice cream. She slays it. Pau gets a gross-looking sandwich and barfs everywhere, so she's eliminated. Jason got a stick of butter and just eats it like a champ, which was just fucking gross. Davon got peas and peanut butter and threw that up. That sounds fucking gross too. Joe throws up the spicy rice as well. Brain freeze, pickles, and ice cream. CJ is now out. It's down to Wendell and Jason. Wendell has to eat 3 hot dogs in a minute and couldn't do it. So it's Wendell versus Jill tonight. On top of winning the competition, Jason won $5,000. Tosh brought in Jill to say Tosh brought Jill a get well basket. She was very sweet about it. And she was all lovey-dovey about it. It was a sweet little gesture, and she appreciated it. So it was cute. So it's Wendell or Jill. Jill yells to, we see Joe go and sit down for the GOAT chair for the first time. And as she does, she looks over at Joe and tells him to sit up straight in the GOAT chair. It's hilarious. Pal says this is what it feels like to be safe after weeks of being on the chopping block. Jill tells her, stop, bro, but it didn't, bitch. Jill, I like, there's really some fantastic personalities left on this show. We got one vote for Wendell, one vote for Jill, next vote for Wendell, next vote for Wendell. Wendell is going home. Davon is happy, of course. Wendell said if he knew he'd be eliminated, he would have prepared a speech, and then brings out this like long CVS receipt style thing. He makes a joke, appreciates everybody, blah, 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 blah. Joe brags. He said a bachelor took down the survivor, which just Joe says proves that he's on the more difficult show. Joe, the personality you're bringing out is just making me so happy. CG said if they don't break up the girls group and let Davon cruise to the finale, she will be mad. Yeah, exactly. Davon looks like she's ready to cash this check. I mean, that's it for this week's episode of The GOAT. But before I go, I'm going to give you my weekly The GOAT Power Rankings. This week is a little bit of flip because I will say this. Each individual within the competition that remains are Joe, Pau, Jason, CJ, Davon, and Jill. So each one of these people brought a different flavor to the show. I saw some maneuvering here that might have positioned somebody in a different place, even though they won't. So this is based on this week's episode. So my week 7, the GOAT power rankings are as followed. Sorry to announce in 6th place is Pau. It just, based on this episode, didn't feel like she moved up the charts or moved down a minute. It just kind of stays stagnant for the week. Jill moves into 5th. The back situation is a problem, and I think that could be a problem moving forward. But again, still a strong game player. Dropped down from last week just based on that alone. Jason, running very much in the middle, but I think that's the way that he's trying to do. He's trying to make it through the middle, just trying to stay stagnant, trying to stay around. And I like what he's doing. Game plan is right there. Top 3, a little bit of a shift. I do see CJ as one of the biggest threats, and I've said that she was a wild card for the last 3 weeks. I got her coming in 3rd just because I do think that Joe slightly went ahead of her just based on his gameplay and getting Wendell out of the game. Great gameplay. Wendell was a threat. Loved his move there. So that's why CJ at 2 or 3 and Joe at 2. And then of course is Davon. She's number 1. I still feel like she's going to win this competition unless these people wake up and realize, hey, we got to eliminate her. So weekly GOAT power rankings: Pau, Jill, Jason, Joe, CJ, Davon. Who do you think is going to win the GOAT? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of Love and Reality Podcast. Next week, we'll be tackling episode 8 of the GOAT. We're inching closer and closer to the finale.